more than one or more than two activities are going at a time, that kind of operating system will be termed as multitasking operating system. All the user will going to access the same system with the same operating system. Then that kind of operating system will going to be termed as multi-user operating system. Various computer system with respect to the software and hardware interconnection, then that kind of operating system will going to be termed as what? Distributed operating system. Hello everybody, welcome back to the session 4 and chapter 4 and the last session of this chapter, that is software concepts. I am Rohini TS from the Department of Computer Science, Vidyashram Pre-University College, Mysuru. So in the last session of this chapter, I have discussed regarding the operating system. So as we got to know that operating system will going to act as an interface between the user as well as the computer hardware. And also I have discussed regarding the functions of operating system. It can be related to memory management, device management, protection and security, and file management. It will going to act as a user interface and a command interpreter. So those are all the functions of operating system. And also I have discussed regarding the single user operating system as well as the batch operating system, that comes under types of operating system. So in our today's session, we are going to learn with another types of operating system. So it will comprise of multi-programming operating system as well as distributed operating system, network operating system, multi-threaded operating system. And what are the functional features of operating system we have? It comprises of CUI as well as the GUI. So we are going to learn regarding the CUI as well as the GUI along with a difference. So let me get into the today's session, that is multi-programming operating system. So what is this multi-programming operating system? So when we are going to call this as a multi-programming operating system, so it can be any kind of operating system. Mainly you have to concentrate on the definition as well as one or two example operating system which belongs to the particular kind of operating system. That and all you have to concentrate. So we'll see what you mean by this multi-programming operating system. So multi-programming is the capacity of a CPU in order to execute two or more programs concurrently. So consider if I am working with a computer system, then it is not always only single instruction that I am going to deal. So it may comprises of two or more instruction, it may comprises of any number of instruction. If a computer system or if a CPU of a computer system is able to process two or more programs concurrently or at a time, then that kind of operating system will going to be termed as what? Multi-programming operating system. It is a capacity of a CPU in order to execute two or more programs concurrently. So if you see here we have an operating system and we have n number of jobs. So n number of program is there, n number of activities is there. If a CPU is able to manage all these programs or all these instructions concurrently, then that kind of software will going to be called as what? Multi-programming operating system. So two or more programs are stored concurrently in a primary storage. As we all know that if I wanted to execute any of the statement, that has to be in the main memory. Okay, then and the CPU moves from one program to another program and partially executing each in turn. You consider job 1 and job 2. Okay, in the CPU I have job 1 as well as the job 2. So by making use of this time multi-user operating system, so first the operating system comes to this job 1 or a processor will comes to this job 1. So in the same time it will comes to this job 2 too. So then it will going to do some of the processing here. Again it will get back to job 1 and it will going to do some of the processing here. It will just going to movement from one process to another process, or it is just a movement from one program to another program concurrently. That will going to be done partially executes the each in turn. So that means what? All the process or all the programs will going to get benefit by making use of this multi-programming operating systems. Computer CPU won't be in the idle form. Then how all the programs will going to be executed? So it will going to execute only one program at a time. But if it is in a job 1, in the partially it will come to the job 2 again, but at a time it will going to execute single program at a time. So we'll see the next one, which comes under this multi-programming itself. So multi-programming is a capability or a capacity of a CPU to execute 2 or more programs concurrently. So based on that syntax or based on that scenario, we are going to have several types in this multi-programming. So we'll see regarding this multitasking operating system. So this multitasking comes under the scenario of multi-programming. So multitasking, tasking is nothing but some of the activities going on. So more than one or more than 2 activities are going at a time. That kind of operating system will be termed as multitasking operating system. So multitasking operating system allow more than one program to run at a time or at an instance of a time if CPU is able to operate or CPU is able to execute more than one program at a time, then that kind of operating system will going to be termed as multitasking operating system. So in our perception, we are going to think that this computer system or a CPU is running two or more process or 2 or more tasks at a time. But what we're going to do internally, it will just going to divide the system resources among all these activities or a task. For example, if we have a 5 activities or if we have 5 tasks, so all the tasks will going to be executed at a time. But in our perception or in our human perception, what we are going to do, all the 5 activities are running simultaneously, but in the internal this operating system will going to share the computer resources. For example, it will work 10 seconds here, it will work 10 seconds, but at a time when we are looking that as a task or a number of tasks, at that time for our perception it will just going to look that all the programs are running at a time. So but inside or in the internal work, it will going to divide the system resources among all these activities. So that is the thing you have to remember related to multitasking operating system. So we'll see the example for this multitasking operating system. So consider you are using your computer system. At the time you are just going to use MS Word as well as the email, and also you are listening to the music. That is what at the time what you are going to think, you are just thinking that in your perception all the process or all the tasks are instance of a time or a same instance of a time. But what is happening internally, that computer resource will going to be divided among all the tasks. So that is the thing you have to relate it to multitasking. So here we have a MS Word, email, web browser. I am using everything together. So every task, more than one task is processing or more than one task is taking place at a same time. So at that time CPU will going to work efficiently. So it will just going to share the resources among all these kind of tasks. It will also going to give the time for Word, and it is also going to give the time for email as well as the web browser. So that by making use of this operating system, CPU will going to use the resources in an efficient manner. So multitasking usually implemented by code and data of several programs in a memory simultaneously. So this is also called as what? Context switching. This is also called as context switching. So we doesn't get to know what is happening inside. So that CPU or a resource of a computer system will going to be distributed among all the tasks. Then only it will going to be projected as all the tasks are happening at a simultaneously or all the tasks are happening at a same time. So multitasking usually refers to a single user. So I'm a single user. I just wanted to have access to the email as well as I wanted to surf something in the web browser. I just wanted to listen to the music. All the tasks will going to be performed at a time, but I'm the single user. So moreover, this multitasking is always related to the single user, so that this kind of task can be happen with a PCs or a desktop or laptop system. Then what are the examples which comes under multitasking? Windows 98 is an example of multitasking. So we'll see the next one, that is multi-user operating system. Multi-programming got over, multitasking, next multi-user. User is a person, one who is using the system. If more than one person is using operating system, then that kind of operating system is going to be termed as multi-user. So multi-user operating system allows multiple users on different computers or a terminal to access a single system with one operating system on it. Consider I have a system with a operating system called Windows, Linux. It can be any kind of operating system. Okay, so there will be more than one user. All the user will going to access the same system with the same operating system. Then that kind of operating system will going to be termed as multi-user operating system. So in the IT sectors or in the MNCs and all, so user will be more, but the system will going to be different, but they are trying to fetch the content from a same system. So with the same operating system or a single operating system, then that can also be example which comes under this multi-user operating system. So it will going to create and maintains the individual user environment. For example, here we have a person 1, person 2 and person 3. All these 3 persons wanted to access the same system of a single operating system. At that time, operating system will going to create virtual environment for person 1. So that means what? It will going to provide all the necessary resource to person 1 as well as the person 2 as well as the person 3. So it will just going to make a partition of all the resources among all the users in the same environment. So it will going to create and maintain the individual user environment, and individual authentication will be there, and security level privileges. If it is more than 100 of a person or more than 100 of users could be there, but all the people will going to have all the privileges. All the people or all the user will going to have the same environment along with the individual authentication. Whatever the protection is given to person 1 will going to also going to be given to the person 3 as well. There is no discrimination between the users of this operating system, and it will going to provide per user resource usage accounting. What is this person 1 who is using resources? Whether he is using only input and output devices, then that doesn't matter. If he is using all the resources of a computer, even that is also not matter. So that means what? It will going to provide all the privileges to everybody, all the users. So that is their usage based on the requirement of each person. They may go with only resource as a memory, or they can only perform with a file. If any task can be happen, but it will going to give the everything as a same to all the user of a operating system. So this is related to multi-user operating system. Next we have time sharing operating system. So this time sharing. So time sharing in the sense what? It is mainly related to the utilization of a CPU. So how much time we are utilizing the CPU. So among a number of users, how the CPU will going to be utilized in a efficient manner, on what time slices or on what time basis we are sharing the resources of a computer is matter related to time sharing operating system. So time sharing operating system allows many users to share the computer resources simultaneously. If I have a memory here, I can come and fetch the memory. I can use it. Once I am done with my work, I can deallocate the memory. Then same memory will going to be used by another user. So that is what time sharing operating system. On the basis of clicking of the time, or on the basis of some of the slicing of a time, we are going to use the operating system or a resource of a computer system. So time sharing refers to the allocation of a computer resources in time slots. So for example, you can take the example of cyber center. So initial days of internet and all, we were used to go with cyber centers, right? So we have to pay some amount. They are just going to give half an hour or 1 hour. So once we are done with our work, we have to get out of that. Then another user will going to use that system. So that is what they are giving the resources, or they are giving the resources of a computer system on the base of time slots. to several programs simultaneously. I can listen to the music, I can surf something. So that is what I can do, any of the tasks or programs that I wanted to do. But on the basis of the time, the resource will going to be shared among the number of users. That is time sharing operating system. So large CAD, that is computer aided design and a text processing system, which belongs to this time sharing operating system. There will be n number of users will be there. Everybody needs the resource of a computer system, and for everybody it will going to fulfill their requirement by giving the particular time slots. So then maximum utilization of a computer's resource will going to be takes place with the help of this time sharing operating system. So here you can see the image. So here what is this? It is an active link where the CPU resource is located. Okay, consider here we have n number of users. Okay, CPU is a resource that comprises of memory, input, output, anything it could be. Okay, so user 1 will going to get the benefit first, that is first come first serve. Okay, so user 1 will going to get the benefit, or based on some of the time slot he is going to use the resource of a computer. Then when he releases, then the same resource will going to be allocated to user 2, and for user 3, 4, 5 as well as the user 6, all the user will going to get a resource of a computer system, that too based on the time slots, that is related to time sharing operating system. So most of the time sharing operating system will going to adopt time slicing or a round robin scheduling algorithm. Round robin scheduling algorithm. So it has to reach all the users from based on the what priority. So who comes first will going to be served first. So that is the technology or a technique that we are going to use, and time slicing will be there. So for CPU will going to be allocated for the user 1 for 10 seconds and for user 2 for 20 seconds. That is based on their requirement. So that is time sharing, and each user or process will receive a portion of the time slot. Every process will going to get a time, or every process or a user will going to get a resource of a computer system. No one will be in the lose situation. Everyone will going to get the accessibility to the resource, that too based on the time slice or a time portions. So then what are the examples? Unix, Windows servers is an example of this multi-programming. So if it is multi-programming, then it may comprises of time sharing, multitasking as well as the multi-processing. So this is related to time sharing. So we'll see the next type, that is real-time operating system. So you just consider an example of that Book My Show. Okay, you just wanted to book any of the 2 seats. So there you're just going to visit that window. So then you will just have a look of how many vacant seat is there. So whatever the vacant seat is there, then you are trying to book that. If you are done with that booking, after refreshing that window or after refreshing that web page, then it has to show me that those 2 seats are filled. So that is what everything has to be happen dynamically. So it has to take place in a random manner. So that is real-time application is required. So in order to manage those kind of dynamic actions or a dynamic events, then this real-time operating system is important. Then what is this real-time operating system? So it refers to a computer and software system that will going to respond to the events before the events become absolute. So before the events become dissolved or get vanished, there it will going to take a respond, or it will going to give the response to that kind of events. That is related to real-time operating system. So the main objective of the real-time operating system is to provide a quick event response times. So if you are asking if you are putting any of the requests, at the same time it has to give me the response back. So that is what it has to be, quick event response times, and thus meeting the scheduling deadlines. So that when there is a deadlines or when we have to finish it up all the works within certain deadlines, then there must be a quick response, or there must be a quick event response for a given task. That can also be happen with this real-time operating system. So then where we are going to use this real-time operating system? It can be used with medical imaging system and industrial control system and flight control and military applications. So there must be confidentiality. After that, there must be quick event responsibility must be there. So in the dynamic activities, we are going to use this kind of operating system. Then what are the examples which comes under this real-time operating system? So it includes Windows CE, Symbian, Linux operating systems are the example. So we'll see the next type, that is distributed operating system. What is distributing here? Whether the resources of a computer or an operating system, we'll see. A distributed operating system is a collection of autonomous computer system which is capable of communication and cooperation via software as well as the hardware interconnections. So hardware, software, everything will going to get interconnected. So by making use of this distributed operating system, work will going to be distributed amongst all the type of computer system. You consider the example here. I have a 3 system, and if I wanted to communicate from one system to another system, and if I just wanted to share the resources from one system to another system, it can be in the terms of either software or hardware interconnection. If the computer or if the CPU is allocating or if the CPU is allowing the sharing of the resources between the various computer system with respect to the software and hardware interconnection, then that kind of operating system will going to be termed as what? Distributed operating system. So it is just a collection of autonomous computer system. So it is a collection of autonomous in the sense individual computer system. We are combining all the autonomous computer system which are capable of communication and cooperation, that too by making use of software and hardware interconnection. So when there is a resource sharing among the more than one kind of operating system or more than one computer system, then this distributed operating system is helpful. So then what are the example which comes under this distributed? That is ATM centers of a bank is the best example for this distributed operating system. So wherever could be the branch, but that ATM system will going to be helpful in order to take the resources. That means by making use of a software and hardware, there will be a interconnections. So if you are withdrawing some money, then in the branch of that account, it will going to be withdrawn. That means it will going to be deducted. So there will be an interconnection between the different computers in the different locations with a usage or with the help of this software and hardware interconnection. We can have a communications or we can have a distribution over the resources of a computer. So that is ATM centers is an example for this distributed operating system. So we'll see the next operating system, that is network operating system. So as we learned regarding distributed operating system, here also we are going to have a collection of individual or collection of an autonomous computers which will going to be shared. That means it will going to share the software and as well as the hardware, that too with the help of networks. That is mainly we are going to call this network operating system as a server operating system. So it will going to provides or that server will going to have a control over the creation, updation, modification or any of the operation which will going to takes place will going to be have a control by the server. So network operating system is a collection of software associated protocols. So there will be set of standards will be there. We have to follow that standards. Along with that, it will going to allow a set of an autonomous computer which will going to be interconnected by a computer network. So there will be n number of systems will be there or n number of computers will be there. That will going to have a set of software as well as set of rules and regulation. That is what we are going to call that as a protocol. So in order to have an interaction between one computer system to another computer system, that interconnection of computers or interconnection of software and hardware will going to take place with the help of computer network. That is known as what? Network or server operating system. So it can be used in a convenient and cost effective manner. So when we are using this network or a server operating system, that server will going to provide all the interconnection between the autonomous computers or individual computers interaction. So it will be convenient and cost effectiveness. That means it will going to reduces the cost for implementing this kind of operating system. So let me take one example. Consider here I have a system 1, system 2, 3 and system 4. All the systems are interconnected with the help of network. So, but whatever the perception of the user will going to think that, or user can use a particular or an autonomous computer in a remote place wherever they could be. So they can use this computer and they can get all the resources which is available in that computer. But all these computers are interconnected, or all these data can be shared one to another with the help of this networking operating system. So then what are the examples we have? Windows NT, Windows Server and Linux are the examples which comes under the category of this network operating system. So next we'll see the next type of operating system, that is multi-threaded operating system. So here you have to understand what is thread. So thread is nothing but that is a sequence of instruction within a program. If it is a program, then that may comprises of number of instruction, right? So that sequence of instruction will be going to be termed as what? Thread. Single instruction will going to be termed as a thread in a program. So it is a bundle of thread. So then it will be going to call that as a program or a process. So process, it's nothing but it is a collection of thread. If it is multi-threaded, then it is a sequence of instructions, or it is a sequence of instruction within a program. That is what the definition of thread. So what is multi-threaded then? A program or a process may have many threads and which will going to share the same code section and data section and other operating system resources. So here program or process may comprises of n number of threads. So that can be any number of threads, and that's same, all the threads which is belong to the same process will going to share the code section as well as the data section, and it will going to share the operating system resources. It can be related to the CPU utilization of time. Everything will going to be shared amongst all the threads which is present in a single process. Then it will going to provide many logical paths through the program to be executed simultaneously. By making use of this thread concept, it will going to allow the program to be executed in a simultaneous manner. That means each instruction will going to be executed sequentially one after another. Then there will be a efficiency in the process. So that also going to simultaneously helps to execute the process in a computer. It will going to increase the efficiency of a utilization of a computer resource. Then what are the examples which comes under this multi-threaded? Here we have a Sun Solaris and Windows 2000, multi-threaded Unix and Linux are the examples which comes under this category. So consider here we have a process. Process comprises of n number of thread, and each thread is a sequence of instruction in a program. Thread 1, thread 2, 3 and 4. Together we are going to call that as a process. So this is regarding the types of operating system. So now we'll see what are the functional features of operating system we have. So on the basis of functional features of an operating system, here we have two categories. One is command line user interface, that is CUI, and another one is graphical user interface. So you just take one example. Consider Instagram. So when you are going to use Instagram, only when it is user friendly. So there must be some images, videos. It must be what? User friendly, and it must be convenient to use. So instead of having all the emojis or instead of having images and all, you just imagine how the things will be if it is only containing the values, like it is only containing the text instead of the image, videos, audios and all. So somehow it will be boring. So if every data or if every commands or content is in the textual form, then that is nothing but command line user interface. I'm interacting with a computer, that too by making use of a commands. And another one is graphical user interface. So we are communicating with a computer with the help of graphical interface. There we are going to use icons and menus in order to interact with the computer system. So we'll see about the CUI right now. So now we'll see regarding this CUI interface, that is command user interface, command line user interface. Whether I wanted to communicate with the computer, whether it could be in terms of input and output, everything will going to be in the terms of commands. So that CUI interface allows the user to interact with the computer with a text terminal. So if I wanted to get done any of the work, I have to communicate with the computer, that too by making use of the commands. So main thing is what we have to remember the commands. If I wanted to visit any of the file or if I wanted to close any of the file, everything is based on the command. It mainly deals with what? Text terminal. And then it is a non-graphical, everything is what? Text based. That is, it is text based user interface. That is the second point you have to remember regarding this CUI. Then which is the example? Which operating system is an example? MS-DOS is an example of an operating system which is of the type CUI interface. So whatever the commands that you wanted to give or whatever the input and output it will going to deal, everything will be in the terms of text. It is no of graphics. It is non-graphical user interface. Then the commands must be given at the command prompt. So we have to give any kind of commands, that too in the command prompt. Then it will going to take both input and output as a character based, and the interface is also known as character user interface. Here CUI is command user or command line user interface, and that can also be termed as character user interface. This is related to what? CUI. So now we'll see about the GUI, that is graphical user interface. Graphical user interface. So in CUI we are going to use every commands on the basis of text, but in GUI we are going to use some of the graphics, that is by making use of menus and icons we are going to communicate with a computer system. So it was introduced in the year 1984 by the Apple with Macintosh operating system. So this GUI is an interface where the commands are selected from the menus and icons rather than we are going to type it by making use of the keyboard. So in the GUI mainly we are going to use the mouse. So in order to click that icons or in order to click the menus we are going to use the mouse. But in the CUI, that is character user interface or a command line user interface, there we are going to use the standard input device as a keyboard, because everything has to be written as a text. So that for that purpose we require keyboard. But in GUI we are going to command or we are going to interact with a computer with the input device called keyboard. Then it allows the user to click on the required icon with the help of mouse. We are going to use mouse in order to click on the requirements, whether it is either menu or any of the icons. If I wanted to click or if I wanted to get done by that, I have to use mouse. Then what are the examples which comes under this category? That is Windows operating system is the most commonly used operating system which is based on the GUI. That is graphical user interface. So now we'll see the difference between this CUI as well as the GUI. It is important question for 3 marks. Give the difference between CUI and GUI. So CUI is nothing but command line user interface, and expansion of GUI is graphical user interface. And in CUI, the user must type the commands at the command prompt to interact with the computer. I wanted to interact with a computer, then I have to write all the commands in the command prompt. Then if I wanted to do that command, I have to remember all the commands. That is the main disadvantage. But in GUI, we are going to use or we are going to click on the icons and menus, dialog boxes, etc. in order to interact with the computer system. So here we are going to use mouse in GUI and we are going to use keyboard in CUI. The user must remember the commands and their parameter. If I wanted to visit any of the path, I have to remember. If I wanted to get done by any of the directories or a file, then also I have to remember all the commands and everything should be typed. But that is not the case in GUI. So here no need to remember any of the command. So it will going to be available in the form of menus as well as the icons on the monitor. Then what is the last difference? Mouse operation is not available for DOS. So if I wanted to communicate anything in the DOS operating system, that is one of the CUI type. There I have to use only keyboard. Mouse is not allowed. So if you consider the C or C++ IDE, there also we sometimes that won't allow us to use the mouse. So there we have to navigate by making use of a keyboard. Okay, that is the main thing which related to CUI. But in GUI, we are going to use the mouse operation, that is select, double click, and we are going to drag and drop. Everything can be done in the GUI. So mouse operation is required in order to select the commands, that is in GUI. And also you can take the example as DOS here, and for this we are going to take the example as Windows. So another difference you can add here. So this is related to difference between CUI as well as the GUI. So we are at the end of this chapter. I hope you all understood with the concepts of software concept. So there you have to concentrate what you mean by software, what are the types of software we have, and what are the language translator we have, assembler, compiler as well as the interpreter. And also we have to concentrate regarding the operating system definition and its features, and what are the function it will going to perform, and what are the types, along with the difference between CUI and GUI. So this is all about software concept chapter. So let me meet you in the next session with a new chapter. Until that, keep learning, keep on growing. Thank you.